You're tuning in to the online broadcast network, AFTERBUZZ TV. Over 20 million weekly downloads in over 150 countries, and your number one source for after-show entertainment. AFTERBUZZ TV, the destination for TV superfans, producing aftershows for over 300 of your favorite TV shows, interviewing celebrities and showrunners, and bringing you behind-the-scenes exclusives. All thanks to E! Entertainment's Maria Menounos, producer Kevin Undergaro, and internet leader Akamai. Now, let the buzz begin!
Hello, AfterBuzzers, and welcome to another after show for the Real Housewives of Beverly Hills. Tonight we'll be discussing Amsterdam, which consisted of a bunch of craziness over in the great Dutch land. Yes. Okay, let's talk about the show.
All right, everybody gets it.
We know. It's legal, we know. Yes.
They're going to get naughty, as Lisa said at the very beginning.
Right,
they got very naughty.
Well, things started off really quick.
Yeah, usually they save those fights for the end of the episode and tease us, but...
Yeah, but listen, when we've been seeing that since the trailer before the season even started, give it to us.
Yeah, exactly. I'm glad they didn't hold off, because the way they made the previews look, it looked like we were going to have to watch them tour Holland, and then we'd have to see it go down at the end. Yeah. But no, I mean, it was kind of bookended with drama today. I liked it a little bit. And even Brandi was like, you know, Kim, you can have your moment, but I'm still going to show out. I'm still going to make a scene.
She can't be overshadowed in the drama department.
Yes. Yes. So let's talk about it. Well, initially, these ladies are sitting down, and then the Bella's DUI returns. We have to hear about that again.
Poor
and
Bella.
It's like, I mean, you know, you'd think, you know, I get where Yolanda was coming from. You know, our lives in Beverly Hills aren't all perfect. You know, I understand that. But, you know, like, let it die now, you know? Come on.
I do like the fact that she acknowledges that it was a huge deal. This is clearly a big deal in
yeah,
her life.
is.
It's something that she considers a big mistake on her part as a mother, and I like that she respects the severity of it. But yeah, now I think we should probably, Bella's a good girl, we should probably just let it ride at this point.
Poor Bella. It's like every time her mother gets camera time, she brings up her DUI.
I know. Oh, my God. So then when we learned that Lisa Rinna had a sister that overdosed at 21 years old from drugs and alcohol, and that this is kind of what prompted her to really want to help Kim. Now, Lisa has, let's just keep tabs and keep track, let's talk about the people in Lisa's life that have had substance abuse problems.
Yeah, because very
struggles.
interesting that she would bring up her husband and his family struggles for a long time before she mentioned this about her sister.
Right.
Which made it make more sense, because it's one thing to say, you know, I had two brother-in-laws, and yeah, your in-laws are like family, but this happened to her when she was 6 years old, and her sister was 21, and she died of an overdose. So that says a lot more about where she's coming from and why she would be even remotely interested in Kim's help.
Shines a little light on her intensity on this topic.
Yeah, because I mean, you know, I still feel like Lisa has definitely overstepped in certain ways, but with this, you know, being so personal, I can understand. But, you know, she even mentioned it tonight. She didn't take the hint to back off when she was told to. And she probably should have, because we saw what happened. So let's move over to that real quick. Kim is telling everyone that she's been 3 years sober. You know, that can be argued with, you know, the taking of the pill, but, you know, Kim believes she's been sober for 3 years. So okay, and you know, and then she started pointing the finger at people, literally, like, you know.
Oh yeah, every one of them she had something to say to Eileen. She said, "I don't like your hair, your attitude. Nothing of substance. I don't like your hair, your face, your attitude." She said to
Forget
Kyle,
serious substance abuse. I don't like your hair, girl.
Your face, fix that face.
to Kyle, she said Kathy would have my back. She had a, you know, dig that. And then to Lisa, the big one, let's talk about your home situation.
Yeah, exactly. You should be concerned with your own home life. Eileen gave it back. We saw Eileen snap kind of for the first time, and it was nice to see her get in the middle of things. You know, I mean, granted, of course, these women are like distressed, so it's not like, nice to see, but for TV purposes, it's like good. Like, this is what you're kind of like,
earn that $750,000, girl.
Yeah,
exactly.
Your page would be a bitch. So let's start. I want to see it.
I really felt it too. I mean, I felt it that when she saw how Kim was attacking Lisa, she was not going to have it. She was
Yeah.
defending her
She was
friend.
mad.
So Kim says that Kyle does not defend her, and she mentioned Kathy, like you said, that just basically Brandi and Kathy will, but Kyle won't. So that's like, those are the biggest fighting words. You know, when you're fighting with a family member, you know how to get them, and that's like really the biggest dig I think you can give to someone like Kyle, who, you know, whether you agree or not, Kyle believes she has been the most supportive of her sister. Now you're rolling your eyes over there. So what do you think?
Can I do it anymore? Yeah, well, we've been talking about this all season. Nobody buys any of this from Kyle. Wah, wah, wah. She doesn't support Kim, and she doesn't back her up, and we see that. And you know what? At least have the decency to be like, yeah, you know what? I'm busy with my own stuff, or I'm sick of dealing with you, or I emotionally can't be available for you anymore. You've tapped me out. Then say that.
I feel like she has kind of said that. I feel like she has said, and even Granny pointed out, and Grant's grandmother called in, that there's only so much you can do for someone if they don't want to help themselves, and she has done, I think, as much as she can, and she's at her wit's end, and I think she's had it. I think she just, you know, doesn't know what else to do.
Kyle hasn't really talked about it, and she doesn't want all that to be so public. So by her doing that, it just gives her puts her in a bad place, because now it just looks like she's just like, you know, checked out and doesn't give a damn, period. But if she did have that open conversation and put the cards on the table, and we did really get a good understanding of her involvement over the years, I assume this, you know, many times she's been in and out of rehab, you know, we could probably get a better understanding. But because she wants to stay quiet, you know, it leads to, you know, us wondering really what her involvement has been over the years. We know financially.
Right.
She's been there.
Yeah.
So,
and it's
I mean,
just ironic because she's the one who brought it out in the forefront. The limo scene season.
Well, right. I mean, we can sit and speculate, and producers can cut things however they want. But to hear out of Kim's mouth that Kim doesn't feel that Kyle backs her up, and I'm sure a lot of that still stems from the original. And Kim said something tonight that was alluding to putting things out there for the kids.
Yeah.
You know, like, I'm sure she's still hurt over that. That was years ago. I would be too. And you can't blame her.
I wonder if Kyle had never said anything in season 1, if it ever would have come out, because Kim is loopy. Like, it would have, I mean, nobody needed really to say anything. It was kind of obvious.
I think it would have came out.
It would have, yeah.
Yeah, I mean, wasn't it in the press beforehand that she had a drug problem?
Yeah, I think so.
This isn't anything new. It's not a developed,
so
you know.
Until she said it in the,
Yeah.
Well, then Kim didn't hold back. Kim was out of control, as we all saw. I mean, I can't put it into words. You have to go back and rewatch the scenes. But Kim basically said, well, let's talk about the husband. And that was really what flipped the switch on Rinna. And Rinna mentioned that she doesn't even know my husband.
Yeah.
So then it went back and forth. And really, I mean, basically, what is she lying about? Rinna says, like, I mean, yeah, so she's like, what is she lying about?
Right, and I think to maybe the viewers just watching may have thought that she was alluding to just the addiction again and Harry's sobriety.
Right.
But really, those of us in Hollywood, we hear the rumors in West Hollywood. I think that what Kim was actually talking about here is that there's a rumor going around that Harry has not been faithful to Lisa, and that he has actually not been faithful with a man and not a woman. And that is just absolutely something that Kim Richards is saying. I'm not saying it.
Allegedly.
Kim Richards alleges that this is what happened, and that I believe, and maybe I'm telling you all something you don't know, but that is what Kim is referring to,
Right.
not his sobriety.
Because there are no other secrets that Lisa has with regards to her husband's sobriety. We know that he's a recovering alcoholic. She spoke about how it was better when he was we got sober. So it is, I mean, it's on the table. We
She's
know
been more
that.
open than she even needed to be.
Yeah, exactly. So what else? Like, what could the secret be that Kim claims like she's keeping from people? Like, that's just a defense. I assume so.
And
Well,
Lisa,
everybody, if that's what it is, you may or may not hear about it in the reunion, because they go there in the reunion, and now you all won't be surprised. Sorry for ruining it.
that's why they go to Christy Reports.
That's the rumor. That's the rumor going around WeHo, y'all. Everybody who's not in LA, that's our job to tell you what's going on.
Right, yeah, the inside scoop for AfterBuzz, of course.
But did Lisa say to all of them that he'd been sober for 3 years? She did, right?
She
In the
did last week,
To
yeah.
all of them. Okay.
Yeah. So okay, not so sure. Now let's give Kim the benefit of the doubt, and let's play devil's advocate. Basically, this is a woman who believes she's been sober for a very long time, for 3 years, and she's seeing in her, maybe it's her defense, but she's believing that it's really affecting her children, which all seem to be adults and out of the house, and they're not necessarily in middle school hearing things in the hallways. But in her opinion, she's just basically like, it's been a long road for Kim. Kim's, it's always all about Kim at all times, but it's been a long road for her to remain sober. So at this point, to have the speculation that she isn't, I can see why that would set her off, especially if she believes she's even doing anything. That's my viewpoint. Do you believe that she's using off screen and she's just in denial, or she's trying to hide it, or what? But I believe that she's just like, this has been her struggle and she thinks she's in a good place. So to have people knock her down and believe that she isn't and put that out there in the universe, it's negative to her, and like she doesn't want to deal with it. That's what I think. But what do you think?
Agreed. Yeah, I think she is stone cold sober on a day-to-day basis, and it must be the fact that she gets so upset about it just speaks to how difficult it really is for her, even after 3 years, on a day-to-day basis. If it wasn't hard, if she didn't think about it anymore, if it wasn't a part of her life anymore to remain sober, she wouldn't care if someone's threatening that. Well, fine, say whatever you want, but the fact that it bothers her so much reminds me about how difficult it must be for her every single day to maintain that sobriety. And of course it's frustrating when you're trying that hard to have someone say, well, you're not sober.
Yeah.
Well, yes, I am. I'm trying really hard every single day.
Oh, it's definitely a day-to-day struggle, yeah.
I think I don't know if she is or isn't on a day-to-day basis, but she admitted to taking that pill, and I think she knows it was wrong and is extremely defensive to the point of deflecting to everyone else. Kathy wouldn't do that. I don't like your face. I don't like your attitude. Let's talk about your husband. She's bringing up something about everybody else.
She hates that she had that slip up on camera.
Yes. Yeah. I think
she turned everything around on everybody else around her.
Exactly. And she didn't even think of her kids until Yolanda said, you stay away from husband and children. And she said, this is all about my kids because they have to see whatever.
When it becomes convenient, then it's all about the kids.
Well, yeah,
because before that she was
her
saying
kids are adults.
Yeah, and before that she was saying she's making up lies about me, which she isn't. And now I'm going to tell the truth about her. That was her main point. And then when Yolanda mentioned the kids, she said, well, this is about my kids. They shouldn't have to hear that I'm not so.
Right. I don't believe Lisa made up any lies. I agree with you.
No.
I mean, what could she have made up? I mean,
She
what
didn't
do we
make any
see?
accusations.
She didn't make anything.
She
Yeah.
hasn't made any accusations.
No, she repeatedly has said that she felt a moral obligation. She wanted to help her. She wanted to reach out to her. She's seen this in her own family. She watched someone need to say something. I mean, for what we've seen, everything's been pretty much true.
Right,
And
and
they keep showing that flashback and that SUV just to remind you, like, she's crazy.
Yes.
And Lisa was there, and she did see that, and I think she is genuinely concerned. And I believe that it does come from a place of concern. Lisa isn't just trying to stir up drama. She's not trying to be mean. She certainly doesn't want Kim to say anything about her that's true or untrue, or she's not trying to be up in this drama. It definitely comes from a legitimate concern. And I do wish that Kim would acknowledge that, because I don't think Kim believes that. It does come from concern.
Right.
Well, someone hanging out is Brandi with this whole situation. She really wasn't anyone to watch at this dinner. She actually was under the radar quite a bit.
once.
The Real Housewives of Beverly Hills had a screaming fight, and Brandi Glanville was not the catalyst.
No. But I mean, I think it's great that Kim has someone on her side. Like, she needs someone there that she can like walk next to and like vent to. But I'm just wondering, like, we saw Brandi talk about this. If it wasn't last week, it was the week prior, that she just kind of lets Kim be Kim, and she's not really ever going to broach a subject with her. So in this situation, it was kind of like, I don't know. I just was like, Brandi, are you just like standing next to her and you don't care what happens just because you've got, an ally, or or the situation is real. The reality is that all of Kim's going after all these people, there's all this speculation, what have you, and you're just kind of hanging out on Team Kim. So, are you just kind of like just being a really good friend? Are you just kind of that's your ally in the show?
Yeah, that they're both just glad to have a friend, have a buddy.
Yeah.
That's what it seems like, because it seems like no matter what, she would have defended Kim. She said Lisa went for her neck, which she did kind of,
She did. I thought she was going to reach out and choke her.
I thought she was too.
There was some touching in the beginning. She kind of did like, I don't know, was just like strike a little bit. Yeah.
And I noticed Brandi said she didn't throw wine at her. She, as if that would be okay. She broke a glass. Like, okay.
I like it.
Because any old Brandi Glanville can throw
Right.
wine.
Yeah,
But you
yeah.
got to be real crazy to throw a whole glass of wine.
I like it.
You're
Shouldn't
really nuts.
I like it. Break it on the table like that. I like it. The whole situation was crazy. I don't have to go back and watch it because there's so much happened. I was taking notes so feverishly. But
I
yeah.
have to say, though, I am on team Lisa Rinna 100%, but what would her storyline be if Kim hadn't taken the pill?
That's a good point. That's
I mean, I
that's been her thing for the
Yeah.
last several episodes. is
Right.
talking
Several
about Kim's
episodes it's
problem.
been going on.
Well, even Eileen, I mean, in all honesty, what else has she really been up
Right.
to? You know, she's kind of like, you know,
Oh, sorry, I just woke up. I heard Eileen. I dozed off. I'm sorry.
she's like she's like supporting in the supporting storyline of the show. You know, I mean, I don't know. It was good to see her get. Well, I don't understand actually why Eileen was so emotional when they went back and they went their separate ways and they went to Kyle's hotel room. I mean, of course, I understand she was like, oh, you know, I don't know how you deal with it, Kyle. I don't know how you do it. And like, I feel bad for the way she treats you and all that. But I don't know why she was so emotional.
I don't know.
Do you think she's just using her acting chops to collect her money?
Yeah, yes,
Yeah,
and kissing
maybe.
Kyle's butt.
Yeah,
and-
I mean, I can
yeah.
understand. The biggest problem I had with the whole thing, and jeers, and I'm saying, is like, wait, the second things broke out with Kim, Kyle like couldn't open up that door fast enough. She was like running hair in 6 different places. The poncho was in the air. I mean, she was just like, she was running
You just
for
saw
the hills.
back of her, yeah.
She was like Ghost. She was making Ghost in that scene. I mean, I was like, where are you going? What are you doing?
She's eager to make it worse. I think because when Kim acts out like this, then Kyle can say, see, everybody, I told you so. Look what I have to deal with. Like, look how
Yeah.
difficult this is. Like, I have to go running away because my sister's so embarrassing and awful. She could have sat at that table, told everybody to calm down,
I think Kyle
and
usually
made it
has
a little less of a spiel.
I think Kyle usually has a pretty level head. I mean, Ray's come at her with some crazy
Yeah.
things, and she's never like, you know, like attacked, you know. So I'm surprised that she like
Ran away.
made like the road runner and just spun out of that room.
Well, she told E! Online that she has anxiety and that she just had to get out of there because of her anxiety.
Oh well.
Okay.
Okay,
Well,
I mean- I have
because it's her-
and my life is too perfect. It
Oh my God, you're awful. People are gonna hate you.
Oh,
I can
sorry.
understand.
People are
I've
gonna
said it
hate
a
you
million
for
times.
that.
I know they are. I know they are. But you know what? If you're sympathetic to someone who has that much money, that cushy of a life, then you probably have a cushy life too, and I don't feel bad for you either. So tweet me up, people.
Yeah, but I mean, she's going through it's emotions. It doesn't
It
matter how much
is.
money you
It
have in your
doesn't.
account. I mean,
Look at Yolanda.
Listen,
Yolanda.
I would be happy as a clam if I had Kyle's life. You couldn't rattle me for anything.
oh
know, if I
well. I
had
mean, but you
Kyle-
never
Give me an
know.
alcoholic
know.
sister. Give me a cheating husband.
More
Sit
money,
back
more
in my
problems.
mansion and laugh.
But more money, more problems. I don't know. I don't know if I would want Kyle's life.
No,
I mean, she's got 2 marriages. I mean, you know, not that it's a bad thing, but I mean, it's
No.
like she hasn't had a perfect existence. I don't know. I mean,
you don't know what's going on in people's lives, but yes, you could have all the money in the world, perfect husband, perfect kids, and if someone in your family is unhealthy, it's just primal. It's just, you know,
I think it
they
all-
say
yeah.
about parents, a parent is only as happy as their saddest child. That's true of every human
wow.
being. You're only as happy as your saddest family member. So it doesn't matter how much money you have. It's the truth.
Wow.
Well, Kim might actually be making her sad, but I feel like it comes from a place of our lives would be so perfect if you weren't like this. Like everything would be fine
Well,
if we didn't
yeah,
have to
I
deal
mean-
with
Bit
you.
of, yeah,
Yeah.
there's a bit of
I
that.
know.
'Cause she does
Yeah.
say, you know, people don't know what I'm going through, what I deal with. Yeah.
I never thought that, and I said this, I never thought Kyle understood Kim's, the real addiction issues and what comes with that. And, you know, I just think she gets it.
She definitely doesn't, because she came down and said before the pot shop, "Where's Kim?" Of course she's not going, idiot. This is your sister. who
I
has an
know,
addiction
you're gonna,
problem.
But I took her on that wine tasting in Santa
Yeah.
Barbara.
yeah, that was
I do
ridiculous.
feel for Kyle, but that was a little like, wait, what?
Yeah, so stupid. I mean, let's.
Because she wants, but that's what I'm speaking
Yeah.
to. Like, she wants everything to be perfect. She wants to have a sister that she can bring along to the pot shop in Amsterdam. You know what I mean? She doesn't
Yeah.
want to have to deal with it.
Well, I think a lot of it comes back to also that promise she made with her mother's dying wish to take care of Kim. I always confuse those two fools. But, I just think it goes back to that too, and it's that obligation that she struggles with because she really doesn't want to be bothered, and everything she does is wrong. I have to say, I really did feel. I know you're gonna hate me, but I just feel like I did feel for Kyle in that van when she was just like breaking down about it, because she did have a lot of people around her that were kind of feeding into it too. But I mean, I felt like she was kind of stuck in the middle. There's really nothing she could have done right in that situation.
But she wasn't really any more involved than anyone else was. Kim sat there and said a lot of horrible things about Eileen and about Lisa Rinna, and kind of went in and after everyone. It shouldn't have been totally about Kyle. Kim ripped everyone apart because she's your sister.
Well, I think Kyle was upset because she was mortified.
She was
Kim
embarrassed.
Just ripped everybody apart.
Yeah.
I think she was mortified.
Yeah, the behavior was
felt
awful.
Yeah. Like she had to apologize on her behalf and just felt like enough is enough.
Yeah, I mean, if I were Kyle, I wouldn't want to have to apologize for that and take ownership for something like that, because that's like a whole new level of crazy.
Yeah.
That's, Kim's behavior was totally wrong. And then the next day, Kim switched and was somebody else. Kim was
happened too quickly, too.
Yeah, it did.
Like, what?
Agreed.
Yeah.
Out of nowhere. Knock, knock,
I can't
knock.
believe Lisa
Who's at
let
my
her in the
hotel
room.
door? Oh, Kim Richards?
Yeah.
Oh.
And they
Wasn't expecting her.
They had a very civilized conversation, and Lisa Rinna was like, okay, I'll back off now. I gotcha, loud and clear.
Right.
And then they mentioned, of course, the children and tying the children to it. And Lisa Rinna really did, genuinely, I feel, understand and appreciate where Kim was coming from, where I wouldn't be that receptive to Kim.
No way.
I'd be like, look, you got to get the hell out of this room. If you want to talk to me, we'll do this later. We're not doing it now. It's too fresh. It's too new. And it's like, you got to wait for the emotions to go away.
Yes.
So that we can deal with the real issue at hand. And that way it's genuine. And that way it means something. If you're going to put a Band-Aid on it so you can go on a bike ride, I mean...
Exactly.
Maybe it's another sign that Kim's sobriety is strong. She knows that she can't sit and let these kind of things fester, because then she will maybe want to use to make herself feel better. I don't know, but perhaps that was her motivation in that, was that I can't sit and worry about this all day in my hotel room, or
she did say she was
ordering
up.
a bottle of wine.
She did say she was up throughout the night thinking about it. And of course, by some stupid reason, they're in Amsterdam where there's every damn, what's the other thing of, like,
Substance.
temptation.
Right.
So it's like, someone like, Kim up late by herself in her own room in a city full of temptations. I mean,
Yeah, it was good of Kim to apologize, but I'm surprised that Lisa accepted it so quickly.
Yeah.
I don't know if I would have been able to. I would have been like, you crossed the line.
Yeah.
Maybe, Lisa should apologize. Like, you told me not to bring it up on the plane, and I brought it up once again, and that was wrong. At the same time, you touched my husband, which is, you just don't go there.
Yeah. But see, I thought the way that Lisa Rinna brought it up at that dinner was just like, it was like, to her, I think, it was kind of putting a period at the end of the sentence and being like, I'm sorry that, if I ever, mention anything, but this is where I'm coming from. This is my experience, and that's why I felt so strongly. But I felt like Lisa thought that her and Kim were on the same page, and she was just kind of filling in the blanks. But Kim didn't want a peep to be said, period, as we know. So...
Right.
I mean...
Right, it was surprising that Lisa Rinna kind of sharing that really touching story about her sister became the catalyst for Kim getting so upset.
Yeah. Well.
Yeah.
Anyway, let's talk about. We'll talk about the countryside real quick. I mean, what did you think of how they depicted Amsterdam? Have any of us been? I have not.
I've never been.
Absolutely not.
No.
Not even close.
I know.
Never been.
Yeah.
I would like to
Minnesota
go.
is as close as I've gotten to Amsterdam.
Oh wow. Yep. Then even never been.
It looks nice. I thought
looks
it was
good.
so cute how she ran into her old boyfriend. And this is what I love about Lisa Vanderpump. She's so much fun. She always has so much fun with everything. She's like, kiss again for old time's sake. And Yolanda, this could have all been yours. I loved
the
it.
people of windmills.
Even
Fascinating.
their conversation at the beginning of the episode about the red light district and would you do that to support your kids? I mean, that kind of had me rolling a little bit.
Yeah.
You know,
We
that
were all like,
says something
"What?"
about
Yeah.
somebody. Yeah.
Yeah, Yolanda said she would be a prostitute for her kids, basically.
If she needed to support her 3 kids and she didn't have a David Foster in her life.
Yeah.
And Lisa
Which is
Vanderpump was
weird.
kind of like, you could open a restaurant. There are other options.
Because isn't Yolanda the wealthiest of them all?
Oh, by far.
So for the wealthiest woman to be like, I would be a prostitute, was like, okay, sure.
It maybe spoke more to the fact that she's grown up there and what is acceptable there.
Right.
And even when they started talking about the other things that are legal, her old mom was sort of like, oh, it's no big deal. You know,
Yeah.
I don't really do it, but it's not a big deal.
Yeah.
Right. Well, let's talk about that. I mean, I thought the whole thing was a little obnoxious, but of course, they put this place, we're put into this place. So they're going to discuss, what's legal and what they can do and all that. What did you think of all the drug talk?
I mean, I guess drugs mean different things to different people. To Kim, alcohol is a drug. To some people, pot is not a drug, and alcohol is. People react to things differently. So, just because somebody says something is technically a drug, it isn't to a lot of people. It's like ordering a drink. So that's how it is there.
Right, and for them to all make such a huge deal out of marijuana when they sit and drink like fish every other episode.
Yeah.
And my personal opinion is that alcohol is a far more serious drug than marijuana. You're saying, you look at it differently. I mean, a lot of people would think, fine, go to your Amsterdam smoke shop and have, do it up. But that drinking every night, ladies, that's a problem.
Yeah.
So, I guess it's to each their own.
Yeah, and everybody reacts differently. So
Brandi, who's drunk on the streets all the time,
Right?
she wouldn't even touch it. So I was like, oh,
That was the
okay.
biggest shocker of the night to
I
me.
know. That those two,
Yeah.
Brandi and Kyle, were alike for one moment.
Yeah.
Neither of them were the ones that.
Yeah. But I thought it was cool that Brandi called her out and be like, oh, yeah, the last time I spoke was with you.
Yes.
Yes, and I was sort of like,
Yes.
thank you, Brandi Glanville. Thank you. Kyle is not perfect. It's not all about Brandi's a bad mom and Kyle's a good mom. And point that out.
Yeah.
Tell us about it. Tell
Kyle's
me more.
face. Wasn't Kyle's face
Yeah.
like.
And why would she be surprised?
Yeah.
Of course. I mean, if you do something like that with Brandi Glanville, be ready for the world to hear about it.
Exactly. She's so concerned
On
about
TV.
she's so concerned about what Kim is telling Brandi because she knows it's going to come back to her to haunt her. And then she's smoking, probably illegally, I assume she doesn't have a medicinal card. So, like, why would you even set yourself up for that?
She made the distinction that when they talk about Kyle made this distinction when they talk about Brandi, it's things that Brandi has done, thrown wine in people's faces, or done this, done that. But when it comes from Brandi, it's designed to hurt, which I can kind of see. Like Brandi kind of said that to be like, not because she was pointing out that it happened, she was pointing out that you're not so perfect. Kyle.
Yeah.
So she does kind of always have a little bit of an ulterior motive, a little bit of a knife to stick.
Yeah.
Right. So Kyle probably just shouldn't give her that ammo.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Don't be doing drugs with her then.
Exactly.
She's probably going to talk about it.
Yeah.
FYI.
Watching this dinner, I kind of felt like Brandi was kind of sitting at the end of a round table, and they were like her aunts. I kind of like that's how I felt when they were at that pot shop because I feel like she didn't want to play, and it was like she was just checked out, and she wasn't there for the good time like that. We were out. We would probably have a really good time, but if we were with like family members, maybe like probably
That
wouldn't
is what
necessarily
the
do it.
dynamic was like.
And that's what I thought with her. I felt like she was just kind of like seated there to check it out. The cameras are rolling. She's there. And where like someone like Lisa Vanderpump was like in the moment. This was like a thing for her. She was like, sure, I'll have it. She had the space cake or whatever. But where like, Brandi was like, you know what? She even said I'm on my best behavior tonight because I need to be around these women.
Yeah, she knows she'll have to hear about it every single episode, every hour of shooting for the whole next season if she slips up.
Right?
You guys, I'm getting sympathetic towards Brandi Glanville.
I know.
What is happening to me?
I liked her in this episode. And then they went on the streets, and Brandi was, still kind of like jabbing, I guess, who didn't want to do what, and she felt like everyone. Well, first of all, let's talk about how Kyle was saying that she was getting a contact high by just being in the place, which was ridiculous.
The immaturity level of like grown women who live in California to sit here and act like it was some sort of like heroin shooting up buffet. I mean, come on.
I mean, it's all psychological. Like if you two were smoking up right here, and then like after like 2 minutes, I could be like in my mind, I could convince myself that I was picking up a contact high. But if you guys were smoking for 2 minutes, chances are I'm like nothing's doesn't happen. You
Right.
know what I mean? Like 2 minutes time, whatever. So it's like that's all she was. She sounded like such like a kid that was like afraid to like smoke a cigarette in the recess yard. You know, I was like, come on, Kyle, we all know. We just heard that you smoked previously.
Right.
So,
And there wasn't even that much smoking going on in there. It was all about the cake and the edibles.
Yeah,
and
all
like,
of the edibles.
yeah, it was the yummy stuff.
Yeah.
Apparently.
Yeah, and they all like have like
You'll
a
get a
little
contact
nibble.
high from space cake. I'm sorry.
We were laughing at Eileen because she just like giving into peer pressure and she doesn't want to do anything that our kids might see.
It's rude not to. I got a big kick out of that. It's like when in Amsterdam, I guess.
You know that waitress was pissed that they only bought one freaking cake.
Oh, right?
You're thinking there's a camera crew in here. There's a group of people from a show. These women are all wealthy as hell. Like you're thinking like you're gonna make bank, and they buy like probably what was like I don't know, like what like €7. Like if that's what they use. I mean, I was like whatever.
Leave it to the restaurateur to point that out. Lisa was like, she's pissed at us.
Yeah. Oh, she should be. So let's now transition to the streets where Brandi was just saying that everyone's like a hypocrite. She was really pissed because in her mind, she felt she could call out Kyle for, you know, being like less than, what's the word I'm looking for, you know? Yeah, exactly. And then, you know, people are always like, you know, shitting on her for lack of better terms.
And
terms,
Kyle's
so.
response was, "I'm a mother," and Brandi took that personally.
Yeah.
And you know, kind of responded defensively that I'm a good mother. Don't you know?
Yeah.
She, you know, that's what she was. I think was really mad about. And
Yeah.
I think she is. I think from what we're hearing and seeing more and more, I think she is really resentful of the fact that she can't be seen with her kids because it would make viewers see her in a different light. Maybe not a completely different light, but it would make people a little bit more sympathetic to her if we could see her with her sons, and we can't. So I think when Kyle said something about being, you know, I can't because of my kids, it hit a nerve, and she brought it up later.
And she can yell when she's sober
And she
too.
Yeah.
Who knew?
Right, 'cause we were like, weren't we all like, is she drunk? But she wasn't drunk.
No, she wasn't.
Yeah.
If to me it was a large reaction, I just didn't think she'd be so upset.
Yeah. Yeah.
Like,
But I guess all the built up frustration, again, we give Kyle a lot of credit for all this built up stuff with Kim. Well, Kyle's kind of been giving it to Brandi.
Yeah.
And it's building up, and she's frustrated in being seen in a way that she doesn't feel is correct.
Yeah.
And being always made out by Kyle to be the bad guy. Like,
Yeah.
I can see how that would start to wear on you.
right. Well, here's what I think that these women are now together on this trip, you know, for at least 24 hours, probably almost around 48 hours at this point. And they're all like on this production schedule. They're all with each other.
They haven't slept because they all yelled at each other last night.
And I think Brandi is kind of like thinks she's hanging out with grandparents. So I feel like she was just like, okay, like, I mean, I've had these moments too when I travel. I'm like, okay, I've had enough of you. Like, you know, like she like had to like let out that scream because it was just, that was like her frustration that was built up just by being with these women on those long flights and having to live with them and like no breaks. I imagine it's a lot.
Yeah, but maybe they think it's a lot to be with her. We never know when she's going to throw a glass of wine in someone's face.
yeah.
Like, they're not hypocrites. There's a reason they call you crazy. I could be with Brandi if she had never thrown that glass or done some of the other crazy things. Like, I would be like, all right, they're crazy, you're crazy, we're all crazy, it's a crazy show. But you've done some crazy things, so they're not hypocrites.
Well, yeah, and I'm kind of surprised that Brandi didn't sit back and let everyone else yell and scream and let this all go down, so that when they get back home, she could be like, I didn't yell. You guys were the problem. You guys were fighting. I wasn't drunk. I wasn't calling anybody names. I wasn't causing drama.
Yeah.
So she sort of had a little chance here to have this be her moment of just zen, and she didn't.
She could have been well behaved the whole trip, but she had to have this.
Right.
Wow. Which, I mean, I don't blame her, but it would have served her well to just let it all slide.
Yeah, well, her behavior is going to take another turn next week. But
Finally, all these things that we saw in the trailer of this season, weeks before it even started airing, were finally happening.
Yes.
I know, right? It's finally paying off. So let's transition to some news and gossip before we go there for next week.
AfterBuzz TV News.
Well, apparently, producers are more than happy with the new ladies of the cast, Lisa Rinna and Eileen Davison. Producers are happy with the drama that they've brought, and reportedly, both will be asked back next season. Now, according to reports, Lisa Rinna will sign on in a second. She's happy about it. Eileen Davison is busy with her Young and the Restless. She's making money anyway, and she may take a little time to talk to her family and see if they think it's the right decision for her. But according to internet reports, both ladies will be asked back for next season. We were making some speculation that maybe Yolanda would not be healthy enough to return. So that would still leave one spot open, and I am still rooting for Shiva. Is that her name? Muhammad's fiance?
Yeah.
Because Muhammad, speaking of news and gossip, Muhammad is all over the news right now. There's a huge campaign in LA to stop the building of these McMansions, which are apparently ruining the landscape, and the rich people who have money to pay their taxes don't have enough money to pay the super rich taxes. So everyone's kind of getting on Muhammad for building, he's a real estate mogul, for building all these McMansions. That could be part of the drama.
Yeah.
And so that's my vote. But either way, it sounds like Lisa and Eileen are in. Also, speaking of Lisa's, Lisa Vanderpump made an appearance last night in New York for not a red carpet event, not something silly and trashy reality TV, but a huge Ebola conference where she made a speech. Do you have some deets about this?
No, I read that.
Wow.
She made a very telling speech, a very intelligent, moving speech about the Ebola virus and what it's doing, not just in this country, but in the world. She likened it to the HIV virus, and she kind of made an impact last night, speaking out this Ebola. I believe it was a fundraiser, and she looked fantastic doing it. Camille Grammer was there as well, and also looked fantastic. I know you always love to see Camille.
Yeah. Good.
So the ladies are out and about doing something good. I like it.
Yeah, no, I like that she's doing something different than talking about her wine or her jewelry or her dogs. It's nice, I feel like it's like good. She's, it's like humanitarian of her. Good.
Very nice.
Yeah.
What do I have? You all saw Lisa Rinna, because this happened, I think, last Wednesday. Lisa Rinna on Kelly and Michael, Live with Kelly and Michael, where she said that when she told Harry, speaking of Harry, the focus of this episode, when she told him that she wanted to do Real Housewives, he said, "I'll divorce you." And the next day, he slept on it, and then he said, it might be good for you after all. He had a change of heart. So thank you, Harry. I'm glad you had a change of heart. And then also, what else? Oh, Yolanda was only there for 2 hours of the reunion because of to accommodate her treatment. In fact, the reunion was supposed to be taped later, a few weeks later. They moved it up to accommodate her schedule. All of the women agreed. So say whatever you want about them, but they all did agree to do that for Yolanda.
That's great.
Yeah, and she could have just skipped it altogether.
And
she
went,
not to do that.
right. That's true. She went. She only stayed for 2 hours, but yeah, she's battling constant fatigue and memory issues. So we wish her all the best.
Yeah.
And Brandi tweeted about, she kind of hinted about coming out with her own label of wine. She tweeted about how
More. Do we really need it?
she's looking forward to summer. She tweeted kind of a stock photo of a glass of white wine, and she hinted that she's going to. She basically said she
doesn't have their own line of wine right now, especially Housewives.
I mean, she really should do something more creative than that.
Yeah,
I mean,
and I would
it's
expect
been
something
done.
juicier from her.
Yeah, I mean, there's wines by wives already. There's Bethany stuff. There's who else
Even
has got
Lisa
a bottle?
Vanderpump's got a sangria.
She's got the vodka, the sangria, the wine, and
Yeah.
Lisa
Ramona
Vanderpump's rosé
Singer,
is
Pinot
fantastic.
Grigio.
But
Yeah, there's already a white wine, Ramona Singer.
Right,
you know what?
yeah,
We
right.
expect something more original from you.
Yeah,
if you can pump out the
Brandi.
tequila, we would really appreciate it.
Now that's more
that would be-
Brandi.
Yes.
That's more Brandi. Yeah, come on. Figure that out. All right, let's predict what's going to go on in Amsterdam.
And now, your AfterBuzz TV predictions.
Well, speaking of things that we had to watch in the trailer and then wait with biting nails for months to see, it looks like next week we're finally going to see this slap that happens, Brandi hitting Lisa. And I think they've made so much out of it. They've all talked about it. They've been talking about it for months. I feel like we're going to see it and it's going to be a little wah-wah. Like whatever it's about or however minor it was, you can even see that the slap is not anything to really write home about.
No.
I think maybe we might be a little disappointed in the slap scene.
I think
That's
we may
my
be.
prediction.
I think we might be too, because when watching the previews, I was like, oh, this is going to be a filler episode. And then we saw the slap and I was like, oh, okay. but it might be a disappointing.
And after all the juice we got this week, like that's okay.
Yeah.
I really want to see Kim go back and argue with Eileen and them kind of settle that score, because Eileen said something is not computing with me. Like, Eileen is not letting it go. She's not accepted she hasn't accepted her apology or however Kim approached the situation with Lisa, Rinna. So I feel like there's more on the table for them to hash out. And Brandi is going to call her a homewrecker, so she's going to bring that situation up, which
is true.
Really?
Well, she even said it herself in one of those, in the first few episodes.
They were both married.
Yeah.
And she tells this very like cutesy fairy tale story about it.
Also, I was going to say, the way she said it, it wasn't necessarily slanted that way. But I mean, we know that that's a sore spot for Brandi, so it was only a matter of time till that came up.
Dropping them truth bombs.
Yeah. Well, as we get closer to the reunion, I'm getting more excited because I feel like a lot more is going to open up with this reunion. And we're seeing these women not being afraid to argue with each other and really go below the belt. So we know the reunion will be pretty good.
Andy Cohen himself has said it is the best reunion in the 5 seasons of Orange County or Beverly Hills Housewives. I'm ready to move on already. Get to that OC.
I know they're taping right now. It can't come on soon enough.
I know.
I know.
Oh my
Well,
God.
I give Yolanda a lot of credit for showing up to that reunion.
Yeah.
Yes.
2 hours, especially in her condition, is a long time because
Yeah.
these reunions are not easy. They're pretty stressful.
Kyle said
so-
she was in bed for 2 days after.
Oh God!
Jeez.
Come on, must be nice.
Poor Kyle, guys. Be nice.
Look, we all have really hard days sometimes, and it's like, imagine if we had the luxury to spend 2 days to rest up and recover.
Right?
I mean, now that's a
The sleep
luxury.
mask on.
Now that's now that's a luxury. Anyway, ladies, where can we find you in the world of social media?
Oh, everybody, please hit me up at Christy Reports on all platforms. Please check out my YouTube channel is also Christy Reports. I do have some Real Housewives exclusives, so check it out.
And you can find me on Twitter and on Facebook at Fern Ronay, Ronay.
And you can find me over on Twitter at Grants__Rants. Please tweet us with the hashtag ABTVRHOBH. There's an O in there now, so make a note of that.
We'll shout you out.
Right, so tweet us, let us know what you think, comment us, give us a thumbs up, and we'll be back with more with the Real Housewives of Beverly Hills next week.
From executive producers Maria Menounos, Kevin Undergaro, Phil Svitek, and the entire AfterBuzz TV staff, we would like to thank you for listening to the AfterBuzz TV network. To watch or listen to other after shows and post comments or questions, be sure to visit AfterBuzzTV.com. I'm Sir Richard Wentworth, and this has been a presentation of AfterBuzz TV.
Buzz you later.
The views expressed herein are those of the hosts only and do not necessarily reflect the views of AfterBuzz TV or its owners or principal.